Hello and welcome to Walking the Earth podcast, the podcast about the backpacking experience. I'm Justin Castle, calling in from New York City, New York.
And I'm Mike Margulies calling in today from Port Dickson, Malaysia, which is also the hometown of my guest, Miss Caroline. What's happening, Caroline?
I just woke up.
Yeah, actually, me too.
Yes. We had a little bout of food poisoning yesterday. So.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's true. I was sick all through the night. A few of us got sick yesterday, actually.
From what?
But yeah, I guess like some background. Caroline and I first met in Langkawi, which is an island at the north of Malaysia. I guess that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah. This was like actually my first stop in Malaysia after leaving Thailand, and you kind of picked me up like a stray animal on the street.
That is what happened. You were drunk, and you were walking all over the place, and I just picked you up.
And then, yeah, I guess we all like, I hit it off with you and your group of friends. And
Yeah, my sister and my best friend. Yeah, we had a really, really good night, and we met each other every night after that. We hung out with each other, yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah.
But we never got to hear you sing, though.
Oh, I'll still sing for you. I've got my guitar here.
Yeah,
so
that's
we can
it.
still do that.
You've got to serenade them. You absolutely need to sing, what is it, the holiday song or the Christmas song? You got to sing them that song.
I have a Christmas song. I
What
can
Christmas
do.
song?
I'll sing a Christmas song.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so you went back to KL where you, I guess, were living until as of I guess a couple days ago.
Yeah,
And-
I came back from Langkawi. I walked into work the next day and I felt so claustrophobic. And I saw my entire life flash in front of me. And I was like, no, this is not it. This is not gonna be my story. So yeah, I decided to leave. 2 days later, I handed in my resignation letter. And yeah, that's started everything. Now I've got nothing to do. Absolutely nothing. It's such a foreign feeling to me right now.
And this was
unbelievable.
your last day of work was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it's like really fresh.
It's like really, really fresh.
Wait.
I was just telling them on the way here that I do not have a schedule anymore. Like I do not have to be anywhere or anything. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And yeah, it's kind of scary. Even though I should be used to it, but no, it's kind of scary.
Caroline, do you have an apartment? Are you fixed there? Or are you mobile?
No, I was living with my dad and his family in KL. Like I'm from Port Dickson. That's an hour and a half down south of KL by the coastline. And yeah, but here I live with my mom. There I live with my dad. And yeah, it was all right. I was living there while I was working there. But it's hard living in KL. I'm not a city person at all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming, kind of. Actually, the biggest, as I've been traveling, the biggest culture shock I always get is when I enter into a city. Because all of a sudden you're in a place where everyone's walking around, it's so fast-paced.
Right.
So
with their phones
messy.
Yeah, and the
And
crowded
it's
metros,
gray.
and it's and KL actually has a fantastic metro system
Yeah.
compared to like almost any city I've been to. But it's still you're in there, and it's just crowded, and there's people everywhere, and it's,
Right.
cities are always kind of it's starting to
it's
rain.
raining.
There we go.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
What kind of rooftop do you? Where are you guys right now? I have a picture in my head, but I want to see if it matches the image. Describe the area, Mike.
So we're at Caroline's mom's place in Port Dickson. So basically, like we left KL yesterday, and so I basically tagged along down to Port Dixon, and actually this place here is pretty awesome. Yeah, we're kind of like we've got all this nature around us. There's monkeys, like wild monkeys around
Oh,
that come
cool.
hang out.
Yeah, we got everything.
Yeah, it's
Out
a
in
pretty-
the patio.
Yeah, we're out on
zinc
a
roof.
patio right now.
There's a swing right here.
Yeah, we're
Huge
sitting
garden.
outside. We've got access, I guess, to the router from out here. Actually, it's a really gorgeous place.
Quiet neighborhood.
Yeah.
Quiet,
yeah.
quiet neighborhood.
We'll get a snapshot somewhere in this environment.
Absolutely.
And
I want to see. I want a picture. Absolutely of where you guys record, so I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that for sure. Yeah, and there's a beach here too, which I didn't even realize. When you said, "Hey, you want to come with us to Port Dickson?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And bonus, I guess we're not going today because of the weather. but-
If it stops raining, we can.
Right. Yeah. The weather. It's weird because it's still kind of sunny outside. And
There is a very cute like Indian saying about this when it's still sunny and if it's raining. My grandfather used to say that is when the bear is marrying the wolf.
When the bear, what does
When
that
the
mean?
bear is getting married to the wolf.
Really?
Because, well, it's sunny and it's raining. It's not supposed to go together. So,
Right.
like there's a saying like the bear is marrying the wolf. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
We have a saying from Creedence Clearwater Revival. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day?
There's a song.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a song. We sing that all the time.
Yeah.
So.
You know, but imagine 100 years from now, like that's gonna be a saying, and people aren't gonna like they can look up the reference on the internet, but like we'll actually be able to know the reference offhand. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting, right? So, but I love your the bear is marrying the wolf. I'm gonna start using that or I'm gonna try to insert that in the conversations.
Oh, you
whenever I
should come
can.
over to Asia. There are loads of sayings. Like, it's unbelievable. The folklore here is it's incredible, really.
Okay, I want
And
to hear.
because there's so many diverse like cultures, so it kind of merged together.
Yeah, that's actually something that's really remarkable about Malaysia is the diversity, right? So in Malaysia, there's three predominant groups you've got. You have
Yeah.
Indians, and you have the Chinese, and you have the Malay, and everyone's kind of all here together. And so if you're in Kuala Lumpur, you'll see signs that are in like 4 different languages.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes.
Yeah, even when we speak to each other, we mix our languages. Like, I don't, if I'm speaking to another Malaysian, I'll speak to them in English, Tamil, Chinese, and in Malay. You know,
Whoa.
you just mix
you speak-
everything together.
How many languages do you speak?
Only two, English
Okay.
and Malay, but because we
You
know
speak a
certain
little Tamil
words.
also?
Yeah, we know certain words. We all know how to curse in all these languages, so we
Yeah.
just mix it, put it all in. And
It's like
yeah.
everyone knows like a little bit of like every language
Yeah.
that's spoken.
That's
So
awesome.
it's called Manglish here, actually. Manglish, yeah.
Manglish, okay.
So not
So
the
similar
movie.
to like, I guess Singlish.
Yes, that's similar to
Same.
English,
Not-
but
not
like
the-
Singaporeans now. I'm Malaysian. I'm programmed to not like Singapore, so
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like a rivalry, kind of like U.S. versus
it's, yeah,
Canada.
it's like U.S. versus Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So we got
Yeah.
Malaysia, Singapore.
Yeah.
Huh. What are the notable
And
like
you guys,
conflicts
I love
that you
the-
guys have?
Sorry, what was that, Castle?
I just want to know what are some of the traditional conflicts that you guys have had? Like, is it just friendly rivalry in soccer, or is it something like that? Or what is
Oh no,
like?
conflicts. Well, that is a very serious issue here.
Oh
actually.
no!
No. Religion and race. A lot of people play the religion and race card. Like
Okay.
lately, it's been coming out in the last 7 years or so.
Okay.
Things have been. We are like a relatively peaceful people.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when we got our independence, like we didn't fight a war for it or anything like that. It was a sit down and everybody spoke about it.
Right.
And
This
yeah,
was in
it
the post World War II.
yeah,
era,
it's
right?
post World War II
Yeah.
especially. And
That's like English just decided at the point, hey, we're gonna do all these independences.
yeah, it's like after the Japanese came in. I think when the Japanese came around, that's when it was really bad for us. But otherwise, before that, it was relatively peaceful. There was a little backlash here and there, but it's not so bad. But lately, in the last 7 years, a lot of people have been playing this race and religion card, and yeah, it's getting pretty ugly. You can see it on the news actually.
So what do you mean by that? Like, do you have examples
Yeah,
of someone
I'm
playing the
curious.
race or religion card?
Well, all right. We are a secular state. Malaysia is a secular state, but Islam is our official religion.
Right.
And we are free to practice whatever we choose. But however, like lately, a lot of people have been coming out saying that the Christians have an agenda, like they want to convert the Muslims without them realizing it, and like making it seem as if the Muslims are really they cannot think for themselves in a sense. Like all of us just want to convert. But the thing is, nobody has that agenda going on. But right, what happened in the U.S., what was happening in the Western world about 10 years ago is now only happening here. Like you got these fanatics coming around, and not only from Islam, but from all the other religions as well. And everybody's fighting, and what everybody's fighting for, we do not know.
Oh.
And that's the thing, because this is really peaceful. Like, yeah, we have to say that the Malays and all they do get certain privileges. That is true, but we are also, all of us, the rest of us, we are given the possibility to strive on, the chances to go ahead. But I don't know. Everybody seems to be unhappy, and they just want to fight. So there's a lot of disputes between where temples are going to be built or where mosques are and all that kind of thing.
And this
So-
is every day on the news, like
Yeah,
like in your
but-
in your neighborhood.
but-
Is this happening in your neighborhood right now, or is this all over?
Yeah, it's here in Port Dickson. No, it's pretty quiet. The only time we ever hear them is when any political party comes around and he wants to make a speech, and yeah, then maybe we will hear something about it. But it's only the current government, the current political party that's governing Malaysia, that we ever heard such religious nonsense coming from. They would say things like, I remember during the last elections, they said that if the Indians don't like what they're doing, the Malays don't like what they're doing, then they might as well go back. But what a lot of people don't understand is because we have built this country together and we worked together for so long, that if something like this happens, if we actually leave, that they cannot survive on their own. Like, we need each other. We really do need each other.
You mean the Malay people
The
can't
Malay,
survive on their own?
yeah, the
Okay.
Malay, the Chinese, the
Right.
Indians, we need each other.
Everyone needs
Right.
everybody.
Yeah,
right.
we all need each other, but they don't get it. Like, our entire culture is based on the fact that we have merged together. We have lived with each other for so long. Like, no single tradition that's practiced here can be said is just an Indian tradition, or is just a Malay
Right.
tradition, or Chinese tradition, or even our food.
Yeah, it kind of molds together.
Everything's fused. Everything
Yeah.
is fused. Our language, everything. So we really do need each other. But there's a group of people who just don't understand that. It's like the superiority of the Malays, the Muslims, and that kind of thing. It's ridiculous as far as I can see. Yeah.
So there's an you feel like there's an attitude from some people.
Yeah, certain
that-
groups of people like I'm fighting for the rights of my people. Yes, we want equal rights. We want all of that. But there is a way to do it without
suppressing other
Yeah,
people's rights.
suppressing someone
Right.
else and keeping them quiet, and
Right.
yeah, there's no need for that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that there's so much unrest over there in these
It's brewing.
in these
It's
regards.
slowly brewing.
Yeah.
The mainstream media does not cover this. That's for sure. It's like a very small section that they will. Right, but if you go online and you read the independent blogs and independent news portals, then yeah, you can read of all
Right.
the things that are
Well,
going on.
I think it's kind of like, there's a lot of things going on. On the one hand, you have a lot of, with this diversity, you've got all these different groups of people coexisting, and it's really beautiful in that sense. But I guess at the same time, there's also there's a little bit of racism and tension between the different groups. Is that
Okay.
accurate
Yeah.
to say?
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling Mike before, like it all started with the British actually. They came in and their, what do you call this? The protocol that they follow is divide and conquer. So basically, when they came around, yeah, there were Indians, there were some Chinese, because we are situated where the Straits of Malacca is at, and Malacca used to be a huge trading zone, and so the shipments
And
from
so Malacca is an area just south of
south of
here,
KL,
actually.
yeah. South of here, and this entire port, like, you will have ships from traders from India and China and all. And this was a really safe passage.
Kind of like a central
Yeah,
hub for a
central
lot of
hub,
trade.
yeah. And so when the colonization started, and when the British came along, they realized that Malaysia is rich in a lot of things. Like, we had aluminium, we had rubber and all that. So they brought in Chinese and Malays from India and China. And what they did was the Malays were put to work the Malays were put to work as fishermen. All right, they work around the seas and all. And the Indians, they worked as rubber tappers. The Chinese, they worked in the mines.
Okay.
You know, so divide and conquer. They could never make so.
So everyone had like different roles.
Yeah, so
in
that
the
sentiment
society.
sort of tickled down till now. Like, no one ever really got over the fact that, yeah, we were separated and now we're together, but still there's this difference in a sense. Some people just want to keep on they pinpoint the fact that we are still different, and like when we fill out forms, like race is still included in our forms. We're not just Malaysians. We are either Malaysian Indians, Malaysian Chinese, or Malay. that
Wow,
kind
I
of
didn't
thing.
realize that.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Well,
of
we have that also, actually.
Like,
We have a lot of forms where you say, "What are you? Are you white? Are you black? Are you Pacific Islander? Are you Asian?" It's like
Yeah, but your laws are equal, right?
Um,
Or there's certain privileges granted to
Yeah.
certain sects and not to the others.
yeah, it's meant to be equal. So
Yeah,
that
but here,
you still
like, it's
you'll still
different.
have discrimination even in the U.S. that will occur
Yeah.
to some extent. But yeah, legally, the laws are formed to be equal.
it's meant
And are
to-
the
it's meant
laws
to be
actually
equal.
structured to have inequality among the different races here?
No, really.
Okay.
When it comes to the indigenous people and the Malaysians, they get a certain amount of privilege, especially when it comes to school education, work, and all that.
Malay people do.
Yeah, Malay and the
Really?
indigenous people, but the Chinese and the Indians, yeah, they're afforded some, but not all.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's actually like legally, there are legal
Yeah, it is in our
divisions by
constitution.
race.
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
it
wow!
is.
I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize that either. I'm not really familiar with Malaysian history. When did the British come and when did they kind of let go? Do you have
Okay.
just a rough timeline? I just want to get a little context for myself.
Okay, the British left in 1957. That's when we gained
57.
independence.
Okay.
All right. But
And I think they colonized around the same time as the Americas, maybe. Yeah, kind of the same time period. Maybe.
somewhere around the same time period. They colonized it. They were the longest foster colonizers. I think they were around for about 100 over years, or 200.
Okay.
If that's possible. Yeah.
So like
'Cause-
1700s or something like
Okay, the
this.
Portuguese came in 1511. They were the first colonizers, and they colonized us for about 100 years. And then the Dutch came in, and they were really short. And so I think, yeah, about 1700, late 1600s, 1700s.
What's
some of that.
interesting, actually, so there's a town, so just south of Langkawi where we met, and north of Kuala Lumpur. So on my way from Langkawi to KL, I stopped in a place called Georgetown, and
Really?
what struck me immediately was like, wait, this town is called Georgetown. There's a place in Washington D.C. called Georgetown.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right.
that's interesting. Why in Malaysia is there a place called Georgetown? And then eventually I was like, oh yeah, this was also a British colony. This was also named after King George. You know?
Yeah,
And
if you
so-
go to places like in Malacca and Penang especially, because they were where most of these colonies were, where the British were established. All the names, the street names
Yeah.
and everything really reflects
Yeah.
it, and the structure.
Yeah, this town,
architecture,
Georgetown,
everything,
looks
yeah.
like I felt like, wow, this is just like colonial like towns in
Yeah.
the U.S.
Right.
Exactly.
It feels like that when you're walking through Georgetown. It's like, oh, okay, I understand. It feels like a Georgetown. Actually, is our Georgetown named after the King George, or is it after George Washington? I don't know when they gave it that name.
I don't
DC.
know. I don't know
Yeah,
much.
I actually don't know. Not important, but
I'll look it up.
I just thought about that. I always assumed it was George Washington, but now I'm wondering if the name was even older, and it was actually the
probably.
King George, like this one was.
It probably was. That's just a guess, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll look
But
it
yeah,
up.
it's interesting. There's a lot of influence you still see from the colonial English colonization of
Yeah, but I
Malaysia.
think the only one, we do not have any residue from the Japanese being here. I think because that was a very hard time for all of us.
And that was like during World War II.
Yeah, it was during World War II, and a lot of the Chinese here got murdered and slaughtered. It was bad. But my mom has a very interesting story. Like, when the Japanese came around, my grandfather, he was a baby. Yeah, like he was probably like 6 months old or something. And the Japanese, they loved Indians. I do not know why. They would come into my grandmother's house. They would go in my grandmother's house. And while she's cooking, pick up the baby, go up to the rooftop, sit there, and just sing to it and play with it. And we were like, they were so harmless to the Indians, but to the Chinese, they were really, really
Interesting.
cruel.
Wow.
They really tried to implement the language, the flag, and everything, but it never stuck. Because after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like, they left, and the English came back.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of. I don't know if you're familiar with Philippines, but I recently visited my great aunt in Connecticut, and they escaped the Holocaust. We're Jewish, and
Yeah.
they're from Germany. They escaped
Yeah.
the Holocaust to the Philippines, and they were occupied by the Japanese, and it was not nearly as friendly. Like, they'd come and ransack the houses, they'd ask for money and all this stuff, and it was just not nearly as good of a story as that. So that's really interesting that they
Yeah, but we had two different forces during that time trying to conquer the world. So
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was a crazy time in the world
Yeah.
that shaped,
And the
a lot
scary
of human
thought is
history
like it's
after.
not that long ago.
No, it's really not. Our grandparents were through this era.
Right.
It is interesting, and there's been ramifications that obviously still go to today. Ever since the U.S. became the superpower post World War II,
Right.
and you still have today, the results of all that, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
Well, Yeah, I want to know, Caroline. I know that we've been talking about history, but I want to know about you. I want to know. I want to know. So you've been living in Malaysia your entire life. You said you've traveled before.
Yeah, born and bred Malaysian. I'm Indian by ethnicity. I'm Indian, and yeah, I did travel. I traveled back in 2011.
Okay.
Best year of my life. Quit alcohol for an entire year. I was at the full moon party in Kopangan, completely sober.
Wow.
I saw things people don't remember and people don't want to remember. Like really, but it was an incredible experience that year.
What
Yeah,
is
I went around Southeast Asia.
what is the part? What is that party?
Oh,
that you mentioned?
this is the full moon party
Oh, yeah,
in
the full moon
Kopangan,
party.
Thailand.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically one of the biggest parties in the world.
Yeah, it's
I
like
have to
it's like one of those go-to destinations, like
Yeah.
for partying. You got Ibiza, you got Goa, you've got Kopangan, full moon
Yeah.
party. So yeah.
It's
Okay.
I went to the full moon party a month or two ago. Actually, it's funny. I
And
almost
Kopangan is in Thailand. It's like
yeah. It's like the big known thing. Actually, there's a part of me that was like, I don't know if I want to go because I feel like this is too much of a. I had the impression it was going to be too much of like a spring break kind of. A lot of drunk
No,
people
it
kind
is.
of thing.
It
It is,
is.
but also I found you kind of find whatever scene you're looking for is what I ended
Yeah,
up finding.
that's true.
No, but I realized like I've got my own stigmas as a backpacker that are preventing me from necessarily experiencing things. So I went to, I had to get over my own stigmas as a backpacker, see it for myself, and turns out, wait, this is pretty alternative. There's like a water slide and there's
Yeah.
like a fire limbo, and it was just
and
like
every bar was playing different kinds of music, so
Yeah.
you can find your own thing.
exactly.
But I remember when I was there, like the students from Israel, like this is just I think it's just after the national service, or just before after graduating. But I'm pretty sure it's after national service.
Yeah, after they did service.
Right.
And
yeah.
they all come out to
Yeah.
Thailand. They all come out to
Or
and they
India,
were-
also India.
Oh my God, it was so nuts. It was crazy the things they were doing. They went wild. And I'm
Really?
like, well, these Israelites, they really know how to party. Like they go all crazy. These Israelis, like, yeah, they go nuts. And all of them were like that. I only met like one or two Jews who were really like, well, they were normal. And it's like, the rest just were like they went all out. They were wild.
Well, if you were in army, I could, if I was in the army for like 3 years, and then
Mandatory
finally get to go out
service.
into the world, I would be going pretty wild myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
it-
can't blame any Israelis for going
Yeah, when the
wild.
Israelis when they come along, it's crazy. Then there are the Australians.
Oh, man,
and
Australians
then,
are always
and then anyone from the
partiers.
Scandinavian country because during like August, September there are lots of chartered flights to Asia, so they will come around and you will see the streets full of them and yeah, it was
Okay.
nuts. So yeah, that's what I did and after that I ended up living.
So you went to this full moon party completely sober.
completely sober, utterly sober, and
That's hard
I was
to-
taking care of every
That's
one
an
of my friends.
accomplishment. I don't know how you can do that.
I carried everyone's money, their phones, their passports. I don't know where I
Oh,
could. No.
you're too good of
Yeah.
a friend, Caroline. I must say.
Motherly instincts.
Yeah, they call me mama everywhere I go. It's like you all you gotta do is know me for like a day or two, and the next thing you know, I'm mama.
I'm in good hands.
Mama.
So yeah.
Where'd you go afterwards? After the full moon party?
Oh, I ended up in Pai, like that's 3 hours north of Chiang Mai.
Yeah, North Thailand.
Yeah, it's like 15 hours north of Bangkok. Really.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful little town. I ended up living there and had the best time of my life. I met so many different kinds of people, and yeah, and I picked up like I really danced over there. Like I just danced.
Yeah.
I picked up poi as well.
Fire
and-
dancing.
No,
Yeah.
that's fire dancing, and yeah,
Oh,
it was
that's-
incredible. Really, best months of my life, and yeah, I went all around. Like the thing is, it's like because I've been in the corporate world for so long. Like I feel like it's so long. It's like only a year and a half. Like I feel like this is like some far off memory, like another story, you know?
From before.
Yeah, from
the
before,
time,
like,
the long,
that's
long
someone
ago.
else's life, right? Yeah, you
Right.
tend to forget how beautiful it was at the moment. So yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
So I mean, I think it's very. I think it's so awesome that you just made the plunge again because it's something I've been fighting. I don't know, fighting off or been just letting it fester for a while, not going through with the urge to quit everything and go travel.
Do you have an urge to quit everything?
I mean, I think everybody does to a degree.
Everybody does, but it's like whether or not they want to face what's out there.
I think it's Castle's doing so many of these podcasts with people that are doing this. Maybe that's starting to affect you.
Yeah, that is true.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, the moment you decide to quit, you are breaking all the rules. There's no longer any rules to follow.
Right.
No one can
Right.
tell you what to do, where to go. It's like you have to set it yourself.
I
So you rely completely on yourself.
I want to know. I want to know, like, what are you going through right now, having quit your job of a year and a half? Like, what are your feelings right now? Like, what's going through your
It
head?
is terrifying. It really is terrifying. Like I remember when I was traveling and when I was living in guest houses and all that, I could live on bare minimum, like absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. I didn't need any money.
That's true.
I had what I needed and all
learn
that.
how to
And-
survive on not very
and
much.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
But the moment I started earning more, and all of a sudden it's not enough, you know? And then, like I'm thinking like, shit, I'm quitting my job. How in the world am I going to survive? And then this memory comes back where, yeah, you did survive and you were great. And then now I'm like, okay, I do not have a schedule. I'm worried about money. I'm worried where life is going to take me and all that. And then I have to kick myself sometimes. And every time I put myself in uncertain situations, life has always given me something amazing to experience.
Right.
And yeah, so working in the finance industry, especially since, well, I was one of those people who would say so many things about the finance world and talk about the historical facts and all that, the history of it. I'm like, it's like when life decided, yeah, there's a little bit of irony your way. You hate the banks, now go work for them. And looking at it from the other side, I was like, how necessary it has become for everybody in this world. Like, what would happen if a bank would go bankrupt?
Right.
Like the whole world just crashes and everyone is affected by it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I thought about this the other day. I thought about this just this week. What would happen if everything, okay, this is going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound, but I'm going to
Okay.
say it.
Just say it.
So I read an improv book not too long ago by Mick Napier. It's called Improvise. And it talks about context. And pretty much everything we do is based upon context and, context of the world. Like everybody has their role and everybody has their space in this world, in this society to make everything work. And that's where when you're born, you don't have any context. You don't understand. That's why we've made this world so complicated. That's why it takes 20 plus years for you to, 18 to 20 years to be competent enough to survive in it. You got to know all the rules. You got to know all the laws. You got to know how to feed yourself, cook for yourself. You got to know how to do all these different things in order to live. And then you have to get a job so you can fit into a greater society and serve a government and yourself. I don't mean serve a government, but you have to, pay
Well,
In
taxes.
a sense, you are, though. You are paying
serving, yeah.
taxes, yeah.
You are.
If you're getting it, yeah.
You're working for someone else so that you can live a good life.
Right.
Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's all true.
But it's always for someone else. Like, whatever you get, someone else is getting more out of it.
Right.
But it's true. Like,
Go ahead.
no, we did have this conversation the other day with Jackie and all, like, how everyone has their role to play living in this world.
Yeah.
Everyone does have it. Like, if all of us were the same, we would never learn from each other. Like, I needed to experience working to realize what it takes. Like, how you sacrifice everything. You sacrifice your health, your time, your space, your relationships. You sacrifice it all. It takes up everything from you. It takes
Right.
everything from you. And you got to be really hard. Like, I was honestly like a really cheerful person, cheerful, bubbly, and like all over the place. Like, I'm that kind of a person. But ever since I joined this industry, I just became so hard. Like, people were mean and cruel, and you sort of tend to forget that there are good people out there too. There's
Right.
some really nice people. But people here, they tend to knock you down, break you apart, make you into what they want you to be,
Yeah.
so that you serve their purpose.
Yeah.
And you'd think that you're making these changes because it's for the benefit of yourself. Maybe you're too egoistic, too prideful, too stubborn, like they say, and so maybe you could just take a step back and look at yourself and change. So that's what I did. But what I did not realize is that I was changing not for myself, but for them. And I remember because every sentence I said, like when I first met Mike, I kept saying sorry for everything. Sorry for my opinions. Sorry for what I was saying. Sorry for what I was doing. And like my sister and him, like they were like, you're not even Canadian. You're saying sorry way more often than they are. So yeah, it hit me. It really did hit me.
I was saying to you like, hey, stop apologizing all the time. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm always apologizing. It changes you. It changes you so much. You forget. And that's how it is, isn't it? When they send you to schools and with what they teach you, their version of history, their version of everything, like their beliefs. And they mold you. They first they fix you in a box, right? Like the first 50 years, they taught everyone, think inside the box. This is how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to go to school. You go graduate, go to college, and meet someone, marry them, graduate from college, get a job, buy a house, whatever, have kids, and you live your entire. You work your job like 50-hour, like 80-hour week jobs, till you're 50, 60, or whatever. Then you can enjoy your retirement.
Right.
Where you're basically
the deferred life plan.
Yeah, you're basically trying to use the money that you've worked for all this 50 years, to preserve your health that you spent on working.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So you sacrifice your. It's this Dalai Lama has a quote, right?
Yeah.
Man is so weird because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, and then when he's old, he sacrifices his money in order to regain his health.
Exactly. But it's programmed in them. And then, like I remember when we were growing up, it was now think outside of the box. Just think outside of the box,
Right.
Like there's more possibilities and whatever not. But then it comes to a point where why can't you just think like there is no box?
Right.
Yeah,
Just think like there is no box.
it's true.
There's
We make the
no
box.
limitations. There's no one telling you what to do, what you cannot do.
It's
no
hard to get out.
stigmatization, nothing. But people
Yeah.
have been programmed that way, haven't they? And it's so hard. And they're afraid.
You're
What
born
would happen?
into it.
What would people say if they ever, go out on their own, take their own road?
Yeah.
Like, it was very hard for people in my town, my family and all that, to understand what we were doing, what I was doing. But my family, bless their hearts, they are amazing. They understand it, but not everybody can,
A lot of people don't understand. That's the hardest part. We've already talked about this, I think, ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But the hardest part for me is that a lot of people just don't get it what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's doesn't. I have to not let that matter to me. It's on me
Right.
to decide what affects me or not. So I know I trust my path.
Yeah, I wanted to say this, that we're a lot of the times you don't have a choice until you're old enough to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
for a
but
lot,
by
for a
that
lot
time,
of
it's like whether
Then you're
you
trapped
can,
already.
you're trapped. Whether you can make the choice.
Right.
of
You're
getting
trapped
out.
with, say, in your situation, Castle, you've got student loans,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
I was not aware. I was not self-aware. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's whatever. Until you're aware of yourself. But
Right.
really, really, truly knowing where you are, what you're doing, what you're responsible for, and what you've bought into. And so you're like in your mid-20s. Or at least for me, it took that long.
You were 18 years old, man, and then you're basically made this big decision that affected the next 10 years of your life, where you signed away, hey, for a student loan that you're still paying off, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is how they keep you trapped, really.
Yep.
Like the moment you leave university, you've already got a loan. You got
Exactly.
debts. You got debts. Like you have to pay it all back, and so
Yeah.
you end up struggling. You
Right.
end up working
You
to
get
pay
kinda,
off that
trapped in
debt,
the
and then you
system.
get into more debts.
Right. Yeah. So
Like-
because you get into a debt, so you can get a job that gets a lot of money, and then you get the job and you make the
And
money so that you can pay back the
so
debt.
they tell you,
Right.
yeah,
And
you got to
it's sort
get
of
this
like a
credit
circular
cards, you got to get
thing.
these cars, these
Oh.
houses,
Yeah.
and all that, and
Yeah.
you're stuck.
And there's some quote where it's like, oh, so you get the clothes and the car, so you can go to this job that lets you pay for the clothes and the car,
Yeah.
and the house that you're not spending any time in, and
Yeah.
And then you have kids, and then you stay with them, and then you're paying for $1 million a kid plus, and then
Yeah. So
but
you never really get to live, though. You never do. But the thing is, not everybody sees it that way. Like someone like you, probably, yeah, you can see it. But those who are just brought up, who are just trained to live their lives that way, they would not know any better.
Right.
They would think, yeah, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. They might have doubts here and there, but
right.
the fear of not knowing, just holds them.
I would say, and I think it's if someone is legitimately happy with it, it's not for me or anyone else to say like what your lifestyle should be. So if someone's legitimately happy, like living, okay, you know what? All I want is a house and a mortgage and a wife and kids, and I'm
Yeah.
happy. You know what? And if that's the thing that's your calling in life that's making you happy, fantastic. But I think the part that pains me personally is how many people there are out there where that's not the thing that is the thing that makes that they're passionate about, and they're doing it just because it's if you're doing it just because it's the default, what you're supposed to do, what society expects of you,
Right.
and you're not doing the thing that's your personal passion, that's where, to me, it's like, that's where it's a problem, where, people are trapped. And it's not their fault either. Like you're saying, we've been programmed by the society, by the culture.
Right.
Culture, this Terrence McKenna quote, culture is just a mass hallucination.
It is.
Basically.
It really
Basically,
is.
it's the Matrix, isn't it?
It is. It's kind of like the Matrix, actually.
Yeah.
Well, that's in the Matrix. I think it's not very thinly veiled, but that's what they're saying. He
Yeah.
worked in a cubicle at an office job, and then he left that. I'm like, wait, is this big whole movie just a metaphor for backpack?
Yeah,
Sometimes I wonder. I just
It
took the red pill, and
Yeah, it makes me think, all the things we've mentioned. It makes me think, like, do the Amish have it right? Like,
maybe.
they don't
Oh my
rely.
goodness, yeah. No,
they don't
I've
rely
read
on
up about the
anything.
Amish.
They don't rely on
And-
anything, and they don't. They're self-serving, and they don't believe in all that stuff. I don't know. I don't think they should restrict anybody's beliefs, and they let people leave if they want to leave. But I don't believe in their, I guess, their religious beliefs or whatever. But hey, they're
Living a simple
sufficient.
life. is
Yeah,
Right.
and if you met them, like, they are actually very happy.
Well, it's
They're
just-
simple. It's
And
everything's so simple.
Well,
and-
this comes back to also what you're saying earlier. It's like when you're working, say, what people would call a successful career, and you're making money, you get into this mindset where it's never enough, when you're always just pursuing more and more and more and more of
Yeah.
it, where you're trying to make money, and then you make money, and then you try to find ways to spend the money, versus, kind of once you take the red pill and leave the Matrix, then you realize, oh, wait, I actually don't need that much to get by. My basic necessities,
Yeah.
once you force yourself to survive, have very few possessions. Yep, everything fits in one little backpack. And,
Exactly.
And there you need what? Accommodation and food, and you realize how little you actually need. And so I think there's something to say for the simple life.
The simple life, yeah. But I think it's kind of scary as well, because living that kind of a simple life, you tend to get ignorant about everything that's going on around you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all that, no matter what life you're living. But
Yeah.
but back to the whole money thing. I remember when I handed in my resignation letter, and when everybody was asking me what were my plans, because my immediate plan is to go back into social work, because that's really where my passion lies. Like, I love children, and I always wanted to work with children. And so and everybody was asking me, what about the money? Are you gonna make as much? Won't you miss partying like this? And I realized how small and shallow their minds really were. It's like they were not asking me like, are you sure you don't enjoy doing this? This is not where you want to go to. No, they were asking me about the money. They were asking me like, you're never gonna get a chance like this. And I'm like, the thing is, I have lived a really awesome life so far. I've lived all sorts of different kinds of lives, and I know I'll make it. And because I'm going to do what my passion, where my passion lies, like, I'm going to do that work. That is going to bring so much more to me than the money that you are going to offer me.
And that fear is also bullshit too, because if you want to, tomorrow you can go back to another similar job
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
You're made to believe that, oh my God, you already have this nice successful career and job. If you quit it, you can't ever get it back. And that's like the fears that are implanted in you. And it's like, actually, on the contrary, the day I
Yeah.
quit was the day my bosses were like, well, keep in touch, in case something changes in a year, call us up. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't actually close the doors. I didn't burn these
Exactly.
bridges. I have these opportunities if I so choose to pursue that traditional kind of career again. That option didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Rather, though, I'm pursuing something else in the meantime.
I wanted to say that I agree completely, and I've done a lot of work with a career counselor before I made this move to New York City. I'm very conservative decision maker, as you know, and I've mentioned it on the podcast before.
Yeah.
I've worked with a career counselor for like 2 or 3 years, and I basically read several books on, making major career decisions. And working with my career counselor and reading these books, I realized you can do anything you can do almost anything you want to do.
You can do anything you want to do.
You can, all right. You can't. You can.
Were you gonna say you can't
except
fly?
for fly, except for flying, levitating, or transporting through time. As of
I don't know.
as of
Maybe
today.
you can levitate if we invent the right way to do it.
As
You know,
of
all you invent a hovercraft for your hovercraft shoe.
As
It is
of-
possible. You just get rid of your
Right.
boxes.
As of this recording, I do not know that is capable. We're capable of doing that. But
Stop coach me lega. Everything is possible. That's Hindi.
Kevin Garnett, anything is possible. So anyway, basically you can make steps. You can take steps. Assign the goal of what you want to be, and know that maybe you can't do it tomorrow. Maybe you can't do it 2 days from now. But if you take the proper steps to get to that goal, you can achieve it.
Yeah. Well, it's like Yoda said: "Try not, do or do not. There is
Right.
no try."
You got it, Holmes.
So if you decide to do something and really make it happen, like you can make whatever your dream is, your personal dream, make it real.
Yeah, I was like, I have my own dream, and I was tired of living someone else's, you know?
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
just decided to take it all in my hands, and I'm going to pursue what I want to pursue and do what
That's
I
the
need to
key.
do, because
Yeah.
that's the only way that I'm going to benefit myself and anyone else around me, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Like I believe like life is all about learning and teaching, and you got to contribute something to society. You have like whatever it is that you find that you're capable of contributing, and
It's
I'm
usually
only,
your passion. It's
yeah,
not, I'll come back to
exactly.
like Dalai Lama quote where
Yeah.
he's like, you ask yourself, how do I make, what do I do to contribute to the world? How do I make the world a better place? Well, do whatever makes you come alive. Because the thing the world needs right now is people who have come alive.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And at the end, I realized that if I stuck around with this job, I was never going to leave. I'll just be stuck there for a very, very long time. And by the time I want to leave, would it be too late, or would I just be like, oh no, whatever, I'm done. Like, that's it, you know? And I didn't want that. I was afraid of that. So I decided, nope, out, start over again.
Yeah.
And yeah, just experience it. Like, let life come, and I'm going to live it, and
Yeah.
good or bad. And because I'm pursuing my passion, I know it's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people understand that fact, and that's the sad part.
Yes, that's true.
Where,
very true.
well, what's next for Caroline? Where to?
Social work. I'm teaming up with my mom and going back and working with children. Like, she has a lot of projects she runs around Port Dickson, and for the rural school areas and for the low-income families. And so I'm just going to work with her and help her out, teach the kids, work with them, work with children, change the world.
Yeah,
Basically.
That's the way to change the future,
Yeah.
right? Is work with the children. So
You got it.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do. And whatever happens after this, it happens. I have my end goal, my end game, but we'll see how it all plays out. Like I was telling Mike yesterday, that would be plan B actually. This plan that I do have, that would be plan B, because life has a certain way of throwing
Yeah.
weird things at me. Like
yeah, exactly.
so
You never really know.
I
what's gonna
never
come
really
your
know.
way.
So plan B, I know.
But once
plan
you open
A,
yourself up to the
plan A,
possibilities,
let plan A play
Yeah.
itself out.
yeah, once you're open to the possibilities, they tend to present themselves.
Yeah.
Well, if you're open and receptive to receiving them, like things will come up, and so yeah, the next couple weeks, something can come up, and you say,
Yeah.
oh, that's the thing now, and that's okay. Like that's another trap, is to think that any point in your life you have to decide, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing for the rest of my life? And you never have to decide right now what you're doing for the rest of your life. Decide right now what you want to do for the right now.
Yeah.
And then every few months, every few years, whenever you feel it needs to change, you can change it, and you don't
Right.
have to ever feel stuck. You can always make a change if you want to.
Yeah. Nope. I agree completely. And you know what, with our whole conversation earlier, I did want to say one comment that I thought was fairly relevant. So we're talking about making change and travel and going and the system and everything. And one thing that's very important is, it's hard for me because I want more of it in my life. It's family. I want more family in my life, and traveling is, you can still stay in touch with your family, but it's still hard to be in touch for all those important
It is.
things when
It
you're
is more
traveling.
difficult, yeah.
And that's one thing that came to mind, and it really hit me today. I just became an uncle today, and
Yes,
Wow,
congrats, man.
congratulations.
Yeah.
thank you. And to be honest, that was kind of like a call. Like, yeah, like I want to be. That's another. I have all these ambitions, but at the same time, I equally want to be an uncle, and I want to be a good one. And it's hard to, sometimes go for those things that you want when I'm
Well, they're conflicting things you want, right? If you could-
right.
In a sense, yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, I just food for thought. That's all, because it's been
Yeah.
really, really on my mind today. I had
No,
to.
there could be a beautiful reconciliation, man. I mean, you could,
Yeah.
if the thing you want to do is to be close to your family, for example, you could find an opportunity that's closer, say back in Maryland or something. There's,
Right.
but there's trade-offs, of course, but maybe there's ways to make it work. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That's what comes into my head.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate the thoughts. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you know what? I was gonna start to bring things to our wrap-up part of the show. Is we have a question that we ask each of our guests.
Okay.
And you know what? The way I want you to answer this is just give the first thing that pops into your head. Don't think too hard.
Okay.
What is something that you'd like to do before you die?
I have no freaking idea.
First thing that pops in.
Just anything. Yeah.
Before I die.
Yeah.
There's something I'll do before I die. Oh, God. I usually used to say that I would want to go ride a huge wave.
All right, like surfing.
Yeah.
All right. Do you surf already?
No, I don't. That's the thing. Like, I was like,
So
when
learn
I
how to
always
surf.
say, I always told my siblings, like, because I remember when I was younger and we were watching this documentary on the tsunami that happens yearly in Japan, and the waves are like so huge. And I was telling my sister that before I die, when
wanna
I know
ride a
I'm ready to die, I'm gonna ride the wave.
A tsunami?
Yeah, tsunami, whatever. I'm
That's
just
so
gonna
cool.
be like with a walking stick on a surfboard and be like, oh, shaky and whatever, and crash. Yeah, and then die.
Wait, so you want to die in a tsunami surfing?
I could die in a tsunami. I could. Yeah.
Wow. So you want to what you
Oh
want to
my
do before you die
God.
ties directly into the way you want to go. That's the
Yes.
first.
No, because the
I've
thing
never
is-
gotten that answer in this.
Yeah, I do so many crazy things. Like I jump off waterfalls, I jump off bridges. I'm such a daredevil, and I'm an adrenaline
Thrill
junkie.
seeker.
Yeah, I'm a thrill seeker. I'm an adrenaline junkie, like really, because I'm so afraid of them. But the adrenaline comes
The
in
rush.
excitement, and yeah, the high is so awesome.
Yeah.
So I haven't died yet, touch wood. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to ride that. wave
Knowing
first.
me, I'll go out with a bang.
Well,
Yeah.
ride the wave of life, and then maybe it'll take you to the literal wave at some point.
Yeah, and then then when you're 90, they'll strap you to that board and let you ride it literally in a tsunami.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could specify that. We were talking the other day about like what we'd all have at our funerals and stuff. I was like, you know what? I would have like some kind of party.
Yeah,
at
my
funeral.
party. I've got the song already picked out, and I'm like, yeah, and scared of my ashes all around. I don't want to be bothered to be buried. Nothing. All that. None of those mumbo jumbos.
I got
It's very simple. I don't know. Life should be celebrated, and you should just keep on doing terrifying things to get more excitement.
Yeah, to feel alive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, my dad wants to do.
What?
My dad wants a Viking funeral. He wants to
Oh
be.
wow.
He
Oh,
wants
that's
to be.
badass.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what he puts in his.
So
in
what? Like
his
put him on a
will.
boat and send him out to the seas or something?
and set it on fire. Yeah, he wants to
Yeah.
set
Oh,
the
that's-
boat on fire.
That's really badass.
Well, let's see what he puts in his will, but,
Right.
but that's what he says right now at age 63. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
But that's awesome. Hey Caroline, thank you very much for coming.
Hey,
on.
no problem. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for. I mean, you're a guest on this show, but actually, I'm a guest in your house right now. So
Yeah.
thank you for guesting on the show and for having me as a guest in your home.
No problem. My pleasure. Really, it's been incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I should let you know that Mike had a huge hand to play in me quitting my job as well.
Oh, really?
Okay, it was the morning I came back and to work, and I was listening to his first podcast that he made, and
Yeah,
at this moment,
I was talking to Justin about.
Oh, really? I didn't realize
and
that.
yeah,
Okay.
and the emotions that he was talking about, the emotions that he was feeling when he was in India, were things like they were like some far off memory, but I remember, and I was like, yeah, he played a huge part in it.
Oh,
They
wow.
make it- yeah, so he did make a difference. Like he needs someone to keep telling him, like, yeah, he makes a difference.
I think it's something. It's probably mostly within you, but if I helped in any small way to spark
Yeah.
any of it, then Very happy to
Yeah,
hear
it
it.
was great. Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank
Everyone, feel free to check us out at WTEpodcast.com. Caroline, did you have anything you wanted to plug?
What do you mean?
Anything you want to promote or? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
no,
don't
no,
have to?
I'm good now. I've got nothing yet.
All right. Well, when you
Okay.
do, we'll get it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to start writing and vlogging and all that again.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
incredible.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. Well, in the meantime, everyone, please check us out again at WTEpodcast.com. Thanks for listening to Walking the Earth podcast. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.